all the while being a supportive and loving husband to me and father to our son.
Woo!
He's the leader of the New Food Party of Ontario, Jim Carholio!
Soles of my shoes are worn, the knees of my jeans are torn. Sweat coming through my shirt, keep pushing even though it hurts. I'm chasing what I know is true, there's nothing that I would not do. When everyone around me drops, I'm never gonna ever stop. I won't waste another minute, no I won't. I'm a man on a mission. I'm a man on a mission. I don't need no permission. I'm a man on a mission. Take it up now, take it up. I ain't waiting and wishing. Take it up now, take it up. Oh, I got that ambition. Take it up now, take it up. I'm a man on a mission. Look into my eyes, you know you're gonna see that fire. If you're standing in my way, it ain't gonna be your day. Bleeding till I own this dream, build it like you've never seen. Even at the mountaintop, I'm never gonna ever stop. I won't wait another minute, no I won't. I'm a man on a mission. I'm a man on a mission. I don't need no permission. I'm a man on a mission. Take it up now, take it up. I ain't waiting and wishing. Take it up now, take it up. Oh, I got that ambition. Take it up now, take it up. I'm a man on a mission. Now take it up.
Wow. Thank you, everybody.
We have a dream, brother.
Now, this is an Axe the Carbon Tax rally, right? This is an Axe the Carbon Tax. Thank you, everybody, for attending. Thank you for coming. And thank you to those across Ontario who supported us and allowed us to kickstart this campaign today. Thank you for all the prayers over the years and the support. A special thank you to our candidates who signed up. Their commitment to put their name on the ballot infused hope in us to keep moving forward. And thank you to Belinda. It will be tough for me to match Belinda's presence on this stage. An impossible act to follow, but I'm going to do my best. Belinda makes us proud, and I'm honored to say I'm your husband. Her spirit and her resolve to keep moving forward and her commitment allowed today to be possible. And I want to thank our son Victor, who has an exceptional mother. Belinda and Victor have endured so much over the last few years, and I love them very, very much for their sacrifice and for always being there. gather today in the middle of an unprecedented journey that we're on. To get to this place, we've had to endure quite a bit of pain. And that's all of us, and many that are not here today. Many across Ontario felt pain far deeper than any of us will ever know. Some of them are still struggling to get back on their feet. Sure, it's true, the PCs sued me in 2017, and they've rigged elections, and they promised they wouldn't do it again, and Doug Ford did it again in 2018. And many tried to cover up their actions, and they kicked Belinda out of caucus, and they kicked 19 of her allies out of the party. And yes, they shame and they disparage. But our history pales in comparison to the pain felt by Ontarians across this province by those very same political actors. The nurses, the small business owners, students, moms, and dads of Ontario children. For the last 2 years, we've seen the political establishment take the same hostility they show to those who stand up to them inside internal party politics, and they decided to turn it on every single person in Ontario that dared to disagree. They came up with a new term. They used the phrase public health as a wedge to divide us. Nurses lost their jobs. Students lost their educations, colleges, universities. Moms were threatened in parks. People lost loved ones. And our democracy was hijacked. Recently, I was in Peterborough, speaking at a restaurant, Peter Burgers, that was shut down. A mom came up to me. She wanted to thank Belinda, let's be honest. For questioning the Ford government about why they were allowing police to go to a park and threaten her for not putting a mask on her child. If it wasn't for Belinda questioning the Ford government, she said, and for us bringing awareness to that issue, many may have not heard about it. A few months ago, I remember a woman calling me about her mom who fell sick. Desperate to get early treatment for COVID that we had been talking about on the radio station, that very few Ontarians knew was available here. But by the time she got a hold of me, it was too late. Her mom fell ill into a coma, and it was too late for that early treatment. These people didn't ask for that from their government. They were just living their lives. They were living their lives based on a common understanding of the values and the principles we thought that our government in Ontario would always respect. They weren't asking and crying for the system to change. They weren't crying for a revolution. The system changed on them. The system turned on them. We were luckier. I wasn't in school in the last 2 years, and we were able to find alternative arrangements for our son. Somewhere we didn't have to wear a mask. But I often think about what it would have been like if all of this happened in the last 2 years while I was still a youngster and my dad was still around. I grew up in a small business, cutting potatoes in the basement of my dad's fish and chip shop. There was a time inside the PC party where that was to be ridiculed. Oh, another Greek restaurant, they'd say. My mom helped my dad run the business. And before she married my dad, she ran a hair salon. They took pride in their business, and the last 2 years, I took pride that that's how they made me the person I am. Restaurant owners and those that operate hair salons, amongst many other businesses, were the hardest hit in the last 2 years.
Deliberately.
But like my parents, many Ontarians, they came here because Ontario, this place told them, and those that came before them, that this was the place that was going to be built on the values and principles that we all shared. That they could run their businesses and enjoy maximum use of the fruits of their own labor, and government would respect that. Such a simple principle. That they could participate in the political process without fear of retribution. That the government wouldn't come after them for holding a different opinion in politics. And that they would never be ashamed of believing in an almighty God. For my parents, and like most Ontarians, they didn't come here to raise their family in search of a better future. They didn't send me down to cut potato peels for an award or a red carpet. There's no coverage on the news. There was no victory. They didn't come here for that. They didn't do all of those things for acknowledgement. They raised their family and they did the best they could to provide a better future because it was the right thing to do. And like many of you, it's not always easy. There were fights along the way. They had a whiny son who wanted to go play ball instead of cutting potatoes. And then he wanted to talk about politics when Dad told him to stop talking about politics. And the potatoes are waiting. I was lucky though. My parents worked hard and allowed me to go to the schools that others around the world dream of going to. I was able to do a civil engineering degree at the University of Toronto, then I went to law school. My dad forgave me for doing that. My wife forgave me for going to law school, and I hope all of you have forgiven me. But despite my dad's warnings, I often took those shared values and principles for granted. It could never be in this place that I was born that those shared values and principles be turned on their head. No way. Not in Ontario. Maybe somewhere far away. Some time before I was born. The first, Belinda and I saw it up close and personal, inside internal party politics, how those simple values and principles are turned on their head. And the powers that be, they get hostile. And then we had to watch them do it to regular Ontarians, hard-working Ontarians for the last 2 years. But like my parents and like all of you here, Ontarians keep moving forward. And unlike politicians like Doug Ford and the PC Party, Ontarians expect their leaders to keep their commitments. That is what we have done, and that is what we will continue to do. Keep our commitments, from a commitment to axe the carbon tax, to fight voter fraud, to stand up for the grassroots, And when Belinda says she's going to Queen's Park to represent her constituents and stand up for her conscience, we keep our commitments. And when we say we're going to build a new and blue political party and run a candidate in every single riding across this province, we stick to our commitments and we deliver 124 candidates in our first election. That is what Ontarians expect of their political leaders. Keep moving forward and keep your commitments.
That's
right. Ontarians have known something's wrong with the political process. They know the people that are supposed to represent them and supposed to work for them, they're not doing it. Sometimes they can't put their finger on it. Maybe they don't know how to articulate it. But when I travel from Fort Erie to Toronto to Ottawa to Niagara, if I'm on the phone with someone in Thunder Bay or Windsor, people know something is wrong. The pundits and the pollsters, they want to tell us everything's all right. We're just a little group here, they say. No one else in Ontario.
Why are they in for a surprise?
The establishment media wants to tell us that government parties, political parties operating on taxpayer money, that's okay. That's what everybody wants in Ontario. But Ontarians know something's not right. People losing their jobs over mandates, businesses shutting down, they know it's not right. Local bureaucrats have no idea how to run a business, shutting down small businesses. Lobbyists telling politicians how to vote. Reports of voter fraud in internal party elections, the media calls it inside baseball. They get together to fund themselves with taxpayer money and decide when churches are going to close.
Yeah, terrible.
There is no majority that agrees with that. Despite what they tell us, those are not the values and principles shared by Ontario voters. When you ask Ontarians if they agree on police threatening parents for not masking their children in a park, or bureaucrats finding their children at school for subconscious thoughts, with electricity rates skyrocketing, an economy stagnant, they do not agree with these fundamental matters. They know something is wrong. Ontarians have lost trust in their establishment political parties. They look at their PC government, over 100 years old, now is just the provincial wing of the Justin Trudeau Federal Liberal Party of Canada. They promised to be open for business. They shut down Ontario more often and longer than any jurisdiction in North America. They promised to grow an economy. It's been puttering at 1%, give or take. They promised to defend taxpayers by a pledge to axe the carbon tax. Then they deceived Ontarians by bringing it back, an industrial carbon tax, and cutting a deal with Justin Trudeau to bring in that industrial carbon tax way before the courts decided, because they knew they were going to throw that case. They threw that case, hundreds of millions of dollars in court, to concede 2 of the 3 arguments against the carbon tax in court. A show to deceive us. They promised tax relief. Gave us license plate stickers. They promised relief in electricity rates. They're building the biggest wind turbine project in Eastern Ontario, keeping the banana republic of the wind turbine scheme going. Everything the Liberals have installed, the PCs have left in place and have accelerated the pace. The party that promised religious freedom locked down churches and other places of worship. They promised to care for the sick. They withheld early treatment of COVID. They promised to stand up for parental rights. They kept the same curriculum in place with a different cover. And then they thought it was a good idea to fine our kids for subconscious racism. That's the PC party today. They were supposed to stand up for free speech, against cancel culture, respect the rights of MPPs, but they've embraced toxic, progressive, authoritarian policies. They hold their voters in contempt and are quickly trying to replace their voters with Justin Trudeau supporters. We have a challenge on our hands. We have to build a party to give hope, a principled option. Because the establishment parties are no choice at all. People are demanding a chance, and we must give them a choice.
We will.
And we know the enormity of the challenge on our hands. We will be ignored, we will be called names, and they deny us our impact. There will be no red carpets for our party. But if we are principled first and keep moving forward, the victories will take care of themselves. And so the question is, what does that mean of victory? Let me tell you some victories. When Belinda went to Queen's Park and tabled her first private member's bill to make voter fraud in internal party elections illegal for the first time in Ontario's history, that's a victory. When you all rallied behind her to stop the PCs from taking away religious liberty by imposing a marital code of conduct on marriage officiants, and they reversed course, that's a victory. When she stood as the only MPP to vote against Bill 67, stopping critical race theory and getting the PCs to flip their position, that is a victory. And when she was the only current or former PC MPP and the only politician in Canada to stand up and vote against her own government on a piece of lockdown legislation, that is a victory. Those are victories because we set the pace. We lead by example. Others later follow. They claim they were always there. Axe the carbon tax, they say. Fight voter fraud. Of course. I'm against critical race theory, they say. Maybe I voted in favor of it. I was always against lockdowns, they say. I didn't know it was in the bill. Sure, they were quiet. They voted in favor. They say they were always there. But we know that without us organizing, without all of you, without us ensuring that we keep moving forward, those other political actors would have never got the courage to stand up and join along. And they will come and go. They'll go from federal to provincial, provincial to federal. But we won't be dismayed. We cannot stop, because we know if we stop, things will get worse a whole lot faster. So we will keep moving forward, and we will keep our commitments. We know where we're going. There's no red carpet. There's no elevator. There's no elevator at the top, blue, red, no color. But we're on a mission. And it's one step at a time. A mission to call out cronyism and stop the hijacking of our democracy. To call out those who want to leave us woke and broke. To stop the slander that says a parent who refuses to mask their child or take an injection in that child's heads or their veins is spreading misinformation. Stop that slander. Stop the slander that says those who expect their government to act with integrity are somehow fringe. We're going to stop that slander. But here's the good news. With every step we take, we gain momentum. And we have the platform, the new blueprint, that will continue to gain us momentum. We will offer the solutions the establishment parties and their controlled opposition agents will never discuss. We will fight to use legislation and fines and push for the banning of vaccine passports in the public or private sector. We will fight to roll back all of the legislation that was put forward under the guise of COVID, whether it was Bill 100, digital ID, or the power given to local bureaucrats. We're rolling them all back. And we will keep pushing for restitution for those that were harmed by Doug Ford's state of emergency, starting with the truckers who lost their business. Others will want to stop there. Others say that's enough.
Let's go, Justine.
I know you're in a hurry. I should probably wrap it up. Leave you now. It's getting hot in this room. Y'all ready to go canvassing and put the signs up? And we could have stopped right there. That'd be the platform, just talking about COVID. Don't talk about anything else, they say. No one wants to hear about it. Don't worry about all the other things going on. That's it. COVID mandates, lockdowns. Let's just talk about that. You sure? Make the literature piece a lot smaller on the new blueprint. The controlled opposition doesn't want to talk about the other items. Ford PCs don't like it when Belinda questions them on the other items. But we got to ban lobbyists from internal party politics. Whether they own a Ferrari or not. We got to crack down on voter fraud in internal party elections and get Belinda's law on the books. And that $100 million of taxpayer money in the last 10 years, that's $10 million a year going to the establishment political parties to fund their nefarious internal party operations. We have to scrap that taxpayer subsidy and do such a good job that it never comes back. But we have more to go. The list is too long.
Keep it going. We're listening.
Let's talk about the media. Let's talk about the media. Get that man 50 lawn signs. Put him up tonight. Media is not talking about us. They've written the articles. 124 candidates, the only parties that have them in place, the PCs, and another candidate. It's like they don't know about us. They get upset if we put too many signs out in Cambridge, trying to shut down more democracy. Conservatives have always fought for a free press and to defund the establishment media of Justin Trudeau's taxpayer funding, right? And we're always told it's a federal issue, not provincial. But Doug Ford's found a way to emulate his buddy Justin in one more way, funding the establishment media. The Toronto Star was going broke 2 years ago. Would have been a good thing. We wouldn't have had to see that cover disparaging the unvaccinated. But their private equity buddies came, bought them off the stock market, and they had a plan, they said. What was this business plan they had? And it was unveiled last year, bragging about it. Toronto Star said, the Ford PC government's going to give us an online gambling license. Hundreds of millions of dollars from the pockets of those the Toronto Star claimed to defend, to keep their business going, their failed business going. And they don't like when we talk about it. But we're going to keep pushing to cancel and scrap that Ontario Toronto Star online gambling license. And the rest of that establishment media, what were they saying for the last 2 years? Maybe we should tax the unvaccinated. Taking taxpayer money from Justin Trudeau and asking Ontarians to pay an increased tax. Maybe we should tax the media that get the Justin Trudeau bailout subsidies. Conservatives used to say, we don't have a revenue problem, we have a spending problem. But under 20 years of Liberal and PC rule, we now have a revenue problem. This economy has been growing at 1%, 2% maybe. Even at their best projections, it's not much higher. We have to do everything we can to improve Ontario's economic productivity. Take-home pay is falling. We've got to turn it around. That starts with slashing red tape and reducing electricity rates. And we all know the only way to do that is take down those wind turbines. For far too long, the PC establishment class has told us, you can't do that. You can't rip up a contract. You can't shut down businesses. Investment will go away from Ontario. No one want to open up shop here. You can't do that, they say. They want to allow a banana republic, 30-year wind turbine contracts that rip off Ontario ratepayers and put the pocket in a select few. Lobbyists running the show. They say we can't shut down businesses, but for the last 2 years, they did exactly that, whenever they wanted. If the Ontario government has the power to shut down small restaurants and hair salons and small businesses, then we have the power to take down those wind turbines and get electricity rates back to life. tax relief, PCs and liberals, every time they talk about tax relief, it's to give their corporate friends tax cut. Give them more money so they can put their woke agenda in the private sector. But for individuals, there hasn't been tax relief at the provincial level in 2 decades at least. It starts by axing Doug Ford's industrial carbon tax and putting the pressure back on Justin Trudeau if he wants to put in a carbon tax. Those costs on industry are passed on to every Ontario consumer. And when you have provincial governments putting in a carbon tax and a federal government putting in another one, you know what that's designed to do? To keep the carbon tax in place forever, regardless of when another government comes in federally. We got to do our part and get rid of that industrial carbon tax, and we also have to take tax relief by reducing the HST from 13 to 10%. But there's more to do in healthcare. We've got to expand early treatment for COVID. How they've been holding this back for 2 years, you have to look it up. And when you find the early treatment, you have to meet the criteria. It's a disgrace. We've got to clear the backlog of procedures and offer choice in services, but cleaning up healthcare has to start with rehiring those nurses who lost their jobs. We can't turn our backs on the public education system. We've got to reform it. We've got to push. Reduce those administrative costs. Stop woke activism that's still pushing forward by getting rid of critical race theory. We're going to start there. And for those, though, parents, they can't wait. They're done with the public school system. It's about time in this province we push forward for tax credits for those parents who find alternative educational settings for their children. That's our platform, the new blueprint. And we will take it to every door across this province, and we need your help and the help of thousands of people across Ontario to help our great candidates push it out on a grassroots level. The other political actors in this election, they're not talking about these issues. They're going to conceal their true intentions, but we're going to keep talking about the policies that matter most. We will continue to challenge and we will continue to change the course. That's what we will do.
Yes.
The others will wait for lobbyists to tell them what to do. They'll go find lobbyists in other provinces, maybe even south of the border. But we don't need fancy lobbyists. We know what Ontarians want, because our party, from its members to its donors, to our riding presidents, to our candidates, are all Ontarians from different walks of life. Actors, nurses, small business owners, stay-at-home moms and dads, those in law, geologists, former military, former police, teachers, pastors, consultants, an elected councillor, an elected trustee, a former CFL player, 124 of them running to give Ontarians an option on the June 2nd election. to wrap it up and I'm leaving now. There's going to be challenges along the way. It's going to be hard. There's going to be swerves thrown at us in the next 30 days. It's going to come from everywhere, apologists for the establishment class. What drives us forward is our fear of failing the Ontarians that demand another option. It kept me working in the hospital on a hospital bed. They said, take it easy. I said, people depend on us. We got to keep moving forward and we got to keep our commitments. The apologists, they'll say things like, oh, the PCs, the Liberals, the NDP. They didn't understand what they were voting for. They didn't read the bill. They'll say things like, the culture is against us. Pack it in. We can't win, they say. But we won't stop because Ontario's future depends on us to keep moving forward. Anyone who's interested in challenging the establishment class will find a home in the New Blue Party.
That's right.
We are united. We are ready to welcome all those who want to change the course with a principled political option. But we will not destroy what we have built or slow down or enter into backroom negotiations, fire any one of our candidates, not run a full slate, quit, or stop moving forward to satisfy the establishment apologists who are determined to try to sabotage our efforts. We will not do that. Thank you, and that's why we're with you. Because our goal is more than just changing government, we must change the course. Our plan was to challenge the left, balance the narrative, and change the course. And today, we are continuing on that plan. We are doing that. We are keeping our commitments. We have already challenged the left. We have already balanced the narrative. The evidence is there for everyone to see. Doug Ford and the PCs are running from their track record going to the next election. The NDP and Liberal politicians, they can't even defend their own bills. We don't know how fast it will take for us to succeed. We don't know how fast we can get our measures implemented. We're not fortune tellers. The pundits, the pollsters, those with alternative agendas, they'll try to tear us down. But our belief in something is in something greater. We know that if we stop, things are going to get worse. We will continue in pursuit of a brighter tomorrow in action, not empty rhetoric. We say what we will do and we do it. That is what hope is. Hope in the face of a lawsuit to persevere and to win. Hope in the face of expulsion to say we will not quit. We will fight on. We will build something new when the shackles of the old institutions have locked us out of the process. Hope to keep taking action and reaching out to new people when everyone around you says it's impossible, it won't work. That's hope. Not empty promises. Not action that one knows will fail, but they offer it anyway. Hope is a desire for a brighter tomorrow, based on necessary action to get there. The action that is lived without even knowing the result you're going to get. Because we know the righteous winds are at our back. And we have a belief in those things that are not yet seen. And if we stick to those values and principles that we know Ontarians share with us, we stick with our passion, with that same energy, that same drive, that same determination, that same hopefulness, and we work every day, there won't be any shortcuts. We will not compromise our values. We will continue with the same sense of urgency. Across Ontario, voters will learn about the New Blue Party. Leaders in every riding will share the message. Volunteers will knock on doors. Signs will be put up from Cambridge to Windsor, to Niagara to Ottawa to Kenora, Rainy River, and everywhere in between. The left will be challenged. They will be pushed back. The narrative will be balanced. We will keep changing the course. Belinda will get re-elected. New Blue MPPs will be sent to Queen's Park. And out of this period of despair, a new and brighter day of opportunity will come to Ontario, and the best will finally come. Thank you very much. Thank you, and God bless you. Thank you.